They called him the fastest man on the streets. But one night, that speed cost him everything. YouTuber Andre Beetle, better known as 1stockf30, was known for his adrenaline-fueled videos, pushing his BMW to the limit. But on a late-night street race, his love for speed turned deadly. Was it a mechanical failure, a tragic mistake, or something more sinister? Stay with me as we unravel the final moments of a life lived in the fast lane. Andre Beetle wasn't just another social media influencer. To his fans, he was a legend, a daredevil, who took street racing to a whole new level. His Instagram and YouTube were filled with clips of him weaving through traffic at breathtaking speeds, often with little regard for his own safety. But to some, it was only a matter of time before things went horribly wrong. In the early hours on a quiet New York highway, Andre's last race would end in tragedy, shaking his followers and reigniting the debate over the dangers of street racing. Today, we're diving deep into Andre's story, who he was, what drove him, and how one final race ended his life. Street racing has always been a high-risk, high-reward game, and it's only gotten more popular in the age of social media. For influencers like Andre, these races were a way to connect with fans, chase fame, and live life on the edge. But the thrill comes at a cost. Street racing isn't just dangerous, it's illegal. And in densely populated cities like New York, where traffic, pedestrians, and narrow streets leave little room for error, one wrong move can mean disaster. As Andre's story shows, these races don't just put the drivers at risk. They endanger everyone around them. So, what drives someone to take these risks? For Andre, it was the allure of speed, fame, and the rush that only comes when you're living on the edge. But that night, the stakes would be higher than he ever imagined. Andre Beetle grew up in the Bronx, a place where speed and cars were part of the culture. From a young age, he had a need for speed, working his way through different cars until he landed his dream vehicle, a 2022 BMW M24 OI xDrive, a powerful machine that he upgraded with custom parts to make it faster, louder, and deadlier. He became known for pushing the limits, and his followers loved him for it. His last Instagram post, a haunting image of his BMW, had the caption, "The streets say they miss me." It was almost as if he knew what was coming. On social media, Andre's presence was massive. Millions of views on TikTok, hundreds of thousands on YouTube, and a growing fan base on Instagram made him a household name in the street racing community. But with fame came a pressure to keep upping the ante, to race faster, risk more, and keep fans hooked. Andre's followers weren't just fans. They were people who wanted to be him, to feel that rush of speed that only he seemed to embody. And to keep that reputation alive, he was always looking for the next big race. The night of his last race started like any other. Andre and a few other racers gathered in Queens, setting the stage for a high-stakes race down the Belt Parkway. Spectators lined the road, capturing everything on their phones. To them, this was just another night of fast cars and daring drivers. But for Andre, this was going to be the race that defined him or destroyed him. As the cars lined up, engines revving, he was ready to push his BMW to its limits. As the race began, Andre shot forward, his BMW roaring down the parkway. He hit speeds that would make anyone's heart pound. But what he didn't know was that his car had a hidden weakness. Earlier that week, he'd noticed some issues, nothing serious, he thought. But at these speeds, even a minor problem could spell disaster. Some say the engine was pushed too hard. Others believe it was a freak accident. But whatever the reason, Andre's BMW started to struggle, the engine overheating and leaking oil. At 160 miles per hour, there's no room for mistakes. Andre's car began to skid, the tires losing traction as oil leaked onto the road. Within seconds, his car spun out of control, hitting another vehicle, a tragic end to a race that had started with so much energy and excitement. The crash was violent, the impact sending debris flying, and Andre was thrown from the car, having only a helmet to protect him. The scene was chaos. Spectators were horrified, phones dropped, and the reality of street racing's deadly risks became painfully clear. Andre's passenger, a young man just 21 years old, was injured, but somehow managed to survive. The driver of the other car involved in the crash, miraculously unharmed, stayed at the scene, but Andre's fate was sealed. He was rushed to Jamaica Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Just 25 years old, his life and career cut short in an instant. News of Andre's death sent shockwaves through his community and the online world. Fans and friends were devastated, flooding social media with tributes and memories of his daring spirit. "Fly high, dog. You're a legend forever," one friend posted, echoing the sentiments of many who had followed his journey. But there were also others who saw his death as a cautionary tale, a grim reminder of what can happen when thrill-seeking becomes reckless. The New York Police Department quickly released a statement detailing the accident and the investigation into what went wrong. They confirmed that Andre wasn't wearing a seatbelt and noted that the speed he was going made it nearly impossible for anyone to survive. For the community that loved him, this was a hard truth to swallow. Some fans blamed the accident on his car's mechanical issues, while others pointed to the risks of street racing itself. But one thing was clear: Andre's death wasn't just a loss. It was a wake-up call for everyone. Andre Beetle's story isn't unique in the world of street racing. It's a world where thrill often blinds people to the dangers, where speed and fame become more important than safety and life itself. Andre's life, though short, was lived with intensity, his passion for racing inspiring fans and friends alike. But his tragic death serves as a harsh reminder of the costs of illegal racing, of pushing machines and bodies to their absolute limits. For the fans he left behind, his story is both a celebration of his fearless spirit and a warning of the risks that come with living life in the fast lane. For those who knew him, and for the millions who watched his videos, Andre's legacy will live on. But his death asks a question we should all consider. Is the thrill really worth the risk? His story may be over, but the impact of that final race will resonate for a long time. Andre's crash didn't just take his life. It shattered the lives of everyone who knew and loved him, proving that in the world of street racing, nobody really wins. If you want to hear more stories like this, subscribe to the channel and check out our podcast below.